What's going on, everybody? It's Dev. Today I'm going to be talking to about 3 or 4 new ladies about their experiences in life and some of the concerns that they have as women and as Black women. And I'm really excited to have this conversation. So first, I am going to have a young lady by the name of Alexis, who happens to be a family member of mine. Yo,
Hi.
what's up, cousin?
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I've never done this before.
Well, it's okay. It's okay. A lot of people haven't done this before, but you look beautiful.
Thanks.
How was your trip?
It was very nice, very relaxing. I got a lot of sun.
Okay, very good. All
Ugh.
right, Lex, I'm going to ask you a few questions. And like I said, they're personal questions. It's nothing, there's no right or wrong answers or anything like that.
Okay.
But you happen to be one of the most educated women that I know. And you happen to be family. So that's like the coolest thing in the world for me. And I'm so proud of you. So, first and foremost, I kind of want to ask you your opinion about voting, right? So what are some of the things that you're looking for as a Black woman with this upcoming election?
Um,
Oh, she's a
so,
lawyer, y'all. My bad. She's a lawyer.
uh, well, I mean, honestly, I think this election in particular, I think is a little bit different than all the ones in the past because right now we have someone in power who is a complete idiot, doesn't it's unfathomable to like understand why anybody would vote for him or continue to support him.
Yeah.
So for me, like looking in the election, I feel like the main thing is like we need a change.
Mm-hmm.
And see, for me, it's hard to really know exactly what I'm looking for because anything I feel that is different from Trump would be the right thing.
Right, right. And
At
which
this
is
point.
it's like an unfortunate place that we're in because I think we all have that similar mindset. You know, we try to look for those specific things so that we can vote to our interests, but our biggest interest is something different than what we have. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But do you think that any of the candidates that you've seen speak to your issues as a woman or your friends' issues as a woman or a Black person? It's tough.
It's hard. It's hard. It's really hard. Um, honestly, it's been hard for me to follow everything. So honestly, I don't have a great opinion on this, you know?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's rough. It really is a rough time. And you know, I read Joe Biden's plan for like his Black agenda, basically. And he's promising a lot of things. I hope that he keeps his promises and honors them if he is to take office. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm really nervous about it.
I mean, honestly, sometimes I feel like with the election, it's a lot of politicians only say things to get the Black vote, to get
Yeah,
the Black women vote, and then they don't actually believe in it, and then they don't actually come through with it. So honestly, it's kind of hard to trust anybody in
agreed.
these elections because how do you know that they're actually being truthful?
Exactly. So let me ask you this question. Like I said, you guys, she is a lawyer, you know. She studied at the Ohio State University. I'm super proud of her. I can't say it enough. I'd like to ask you, what was your inspiration behind wanting to study law? And throughout your career, whether it's your academic career or your personal career today, have you seen any setbacks or challenges because of your womanhood and or your Blackness?
So the main reason I wanted to go to law school and study the law was, I mean, all growing up, I've been very interested in how people work. And so like I was a psychology major in college, and I thought, you know, I wanted to be a psychologist and kind of just be there for people to listen. And then honestly, I didn't want to continue on in school for much longer because I was getting tired of it. And law school was 3 years, but you know, I took my psychology degree and I decided I wanted, honestly, which is very surprising, I first wanted to be a defense attorney. I wanted to help those people who I felt were not giving a lot of voice, doesn't have a lot of voice. But then I got a job at the prosecutor's office. And in the same token that I wanted to be there for the people, the defendants who didn't have a voice, I also wanted to be a voice for victims, because I honestly feel like in our justice system, the victims are overlooked a lot of the time. I truly feel that way. And working in my job, I see that a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, in particular, I haven't had a ton of setbacks in my job that I've seen, but I mean, one little anecdote of a story I feel had to deal with because I'm a Black woman and attorney, but I was preparing for like a court hearing that I had to do, and a defense attorney came in, and we also had a support staff person with me. That defense attorney automatically started talking to that support staff person about what was going on, didn't even consider me.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, no, actually, I'm the prosecutor. You need to be talking to me. And so it's just kind of like, no matter where you are, you still need to like do so much more. And it was just like that small little thing. And I don't think he meant anything by it, but it was just kind of like your first automatic
that
thing is
subconscious bias thing. It's just kind of embedded.
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like me being a prosecutor, I feel like I can make a difference. And again, something with, the protests going on. We got cases from the protests, but I'm reading these and I'm like, you know what, we shouldn't prosecute these people. This is not a thing. And so I feel like I can help do that at the same time. And because of me being a Black woman, I took on that responsibility to kind of say like, hey, maybe we should look at other things a little bit different,
Yeah. So. That's incredible. I want to cry, but I'm not going to do that because I can't believe this. All right. So one of my last questions that I have for you today, and this is kind of how I came up with these questions. Beyoncé, who is a huge superstar, she's also a Black woman. You know what I'm saying? That's the first thing you see when you see her. But the thing is, it seems like Beyoncé doesn't get the same protection that other Black women are calling for themselves. You know what I mean? So there's some things in her music and throughout her life, some talking topics that really stand out to me that kind of prove that she does deserve to be protected just like any other Black woman. So my question to you guys, Alexis happens to be engaged. She just got engaged. Look at her. Man. Beyoncé has a quote. She's quoted by saying, it's very seldom that you're blessed to find your equal. Your fiance also happens to be a lawyer. You guys both studied law. You guys both passed the bar. It's a beautiful thing. How does that feel to have a partner who you feel is your equal?
It's amazing. I feel like because we do the same thing, we understand each other a lot more. It's easier for us to have conversations. It's easier for us to truly understand where the other person is coming from. Yeah. And we don't have that struggle of like one or the other, you know? I feel like we truly complement each other because we are on the same level, and I bring something to the table, he brings something to the table, and we have gotten through, like, we both went to law school together, we both took the bar together, and that's like not easy. And so It's nice to like have somebody on that same level with you, and you guys can both like go through that experience together. And it wasn't like, oh, you're better than I am, I'm better than you, or anything like that. It was, we are doing this together, and it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's good. It's good.
It's good.
It's good.
Oh my gosh. Well, congratulations on your engagement.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to shake this wedding so hard, and I cannot wait. This is like the kickoff for us. You know what I mean? Like, Rodney got married years ago, but like, that almost doesn't count. This is the beginning.
It is the beginning.
This is the beginning. This is crazy. But Alexis, thank you so much. You are a beautiful Black woman. I love you so much. You're respected, and I hope you feel protected by me. You know, if ever you see any way I can improve when it comes to the support of our Black women, you let me know, because I want to be there for you guys. And you know, you're like my sister, so it's just like, I love you so much, and I definitely respect you, and I value your opinion and your thoughts.
Thank you.
I love you, cousin. Talk to you later.
Love you. Bye.
All right, bye-bye. Okay, I see my next guest. All right, hold on. You guys, this one's going to be really, really good. Ooh. Thank you so much, Alexis. Let's see. I feel like such an old man. Hey!
Hold on, I'm going to get my... Oh, no, wait, never mind. Go ahead.
Yo, I haven't seen you in a million years.
Literally, though. Like,
it's been way too long.
Right.
All right, introduce yourself to my people.
Hello, my name is Allie. I go by Banks. My real name's Alicia, but if you can't pronounce it, any of the other two are fine.
You know, I didn't know that.
A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't, just because I'm just like, you know what? I don't have time to pretend with the enunciations. Is what it is, but yeah.
That's crazy. All right, so I have some really dope questions for you today, and I'm really excited to have you on. So the way Allie and I met was through a podcast that we were working on, which was centered around music, and me and the guys being a part of the music industry. Allie, much like myself, has an eclectic music taste, but Allie is also, you know, into like anime and cosplay and all that other kind of stuff. So I kind of wanted to ask you what it feels like, or actually I want to ask it this way. The term alternative Black girl, how do you feel about that term? And do you accept that term for yourself? Because typically people would call you the alternative Black girl.
I'm gonna have to say it's bittersweet in my personal opinion. One, I take a full identity in being the alt Black girl. Like, that is like, I'm weird. It's just who I am. Like, but I know that there's like a duality with knowing that alt reminds me that Black women are put in a box. And because I'm so much different than every other stereotypic, which isn't even bad, it's just a matter of that Black women don't get representation. So people will be like, oh, you're the alt Black girl, you're so weird, you're like me, you're quirky. And I'm like, I'm literally just a regular schmegular girl trying to live her best life, just like you. That's the only thing we have in common.
Yeah.
So there's a level in which, like, I've always identified with it, because I'm like, I need to be that, like, myself for other girls who look like me, because I never saw it growing up. And so I take pride in it, but there's also like a sting that comes with it in the same breath.
Yeah. So what do you feel like could help that stigma? And you kind of touched on it, you know, being yourself so that other women can see you being your full self. But why is that, you know, why is there that negative connotation that, like, basically, how can we get out of that negative connotation of the term and more accepting of it? Or maybe getting away from it and just accepting that Black women come in many shades?
How can we get rid of that stigma? It's really, one, it's just really being ourselves, because the issue is when you get put into a box, being alternative also means like being you, if that makes sense, or allowing yourself to not influenced as a whole by like what the majority thinks. And
Yeah.
also another part of it that really stinks is like it's some of it's deeply seated in like internalized racism too, because I
Ah.
a lot of white areas, so I had to kind of like assimilate to survive. And a piece of
Woo!
like I take some guilt in that because I'm not that person anymore. But growing up as a little kid, I did that. So having that like mix into who I am is good and bad.
Yeah.
But as far as like us fixing it, truthfully, the thing that helped me was just allowing myself to be me, even with that trauma, even without that trauma, with the good that's happened to me. It's still about like being yourself. Like that's the alternative to being what people want Black women to be. I don't know
Yeah.
if that answers that, but
No, that definitely answers it. You know what I mean? I just feel like that representation just really, really does help. And, you know, like you said, the fact that some of that is embedded within racism just proves that we just have so much to fight for. You know what I mean? And that the work is far from done.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But so like I said, we met throughout, you know, that podcast situation and focusing on music and things like that. I'm sure you could list a bunch of women artists who kind of speak to who you are as the alt Black girl.
Mm.
Do you find any male artists who speak to you in the same or similar way?
Yeah, actually, the like it's not as common as you think, but like people like mumble rappers, and I don't mean that in like a bad way, but like a lot of the like I think it's Little Uzi who has like colored hair.
Yeah, yeah.
That is something that like the alt community does. So like people don't think that it exists within rap music, but a lot of rappers listen to like J Rock or like enjoy anime. Like that's like kind of a thing that is in Black culture. So
Yeah,
a lot of hip hop and rap has really have me like connected to that.
yeah,
As far as like the alternative scene, I can't lie to you and say that I don't know that many like male artists that are Black that are doing that. There's a lot of guys in hip hop that are kind of like married the two, like or Little Nas X who married like country and hip hop together. Like he's not someone that I like idolize, but he's someone that I'm like, okay, like I see you out here being that alt Black guy, being different from everybody else. Uh,
yeah.
so I don't know, like I guess like even Kendrick to me in some sense is kind of an alt
Oh
Black guy.
wow.
Um, it's I don't know, like I that's probably as much as I have.
All right, so back to like the ladies, you know, for my sister who, you know, kind of identifies similarly to you, um, her main inspiration is, or one of them is Khalees. You know, tell me, you know, what somebody like Khalees brings to representation to a girl like you.
Um, I'm about to answer that, but first I have to add in Steve Lacy. He is
Steve
probably
Lacy is dope.
slipped my mind, but my fiance just reminded me. Steve Lacy is
You're engaged too?
yeah. I haven't. And we knew each other when I got engaged.
Oh, really? I thought you
Yeah,
guys were just dating. Well,
thank
congratulations.
you.
Y'all are just cuffed. That's
Yeah,
what I'm talking about. I see you. I
I'm.
see you.
Hey, you got to tie it down, honestly. You know when you get it. But so Steve Lacy, a big instrument in like being all I forgot and I don't know how. But the first question that you had for me was how do I feel about Khalees, right?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, Khalees, Missy Elliott, um I'm skipping even Janet to an extent. Um,
Ooh.
very all Black girl foundations.
Okay.
Like without them, we would not. Like Pete Khalees got so much flack for so much at the end of the day, but that lady and her vision,
Yeah.
Khalees was like, yeah. So I'm embracing my sexuality. I'm weird as heck for like, purposes of being on the internet, but like, she was just so dope, and people low key sleep on her, even though she has like that milkshake song. They'd be like, "Oh, that's so good," but like if you really go into her stuff, you'd be like, "Wow, what instrument is that?" Like, look at this music video. She was just like a little bit ahead of her time, just
For
like Missy
sure.
Elliott.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. All right, this is dope. All right, so I have one more question for you. It's kind of it's not as threaded with the questions I asked you before, but it's something I want your thoughts about. Do you feel like, I was talking about Beyonce with my cousin,
Mhm.
and one of the other reasons why it seems like she's not as protected as other Black women is because she has money. Do you feel like having money negates your Black experience?
Ooh, I'm gonna have to pause now because I have to really think about that.
Yeah.
I no, no. Because at the end of the day, Beyonce could, beside the fact that she's Beyonce, I'm speaking as like people with money, you can literally change your shirt and people will just assume because you're Black that you're from a different class. So, and that's like going within like Eurocentric societal beliefs. Like, I don't believe that, but like how you dress makes you look rich or whatever. But that's all beside the point. Beyonce isn't protected because she can't take off her skin. Like, she's gonna be a Black woman regardless. Like, who she is who she is. So like, you can have money, but it's never gonna stop like that police officer from not believing you. Like,
Yeah.
we see police officers all the time, like taking people who have such value and wealth and being like, oh, I'm still gonna arrest you, or prove to me that this is your property, X, Y, and Z. So it's just like the Black experience comes with our skin, unfortunately, and there's only so much that we can do. I do think that it helps, though. Don't get me wrong, money will always help.
Yeah.
It doesn't change your skin. So
It's just crazy to me that so many Black people do associate their Blackness with the struggle and being broke, and they feel like once somebody makes some money that they're a sellout or something of that nature. And that's another stigma that I would like for us to get out of, and I don't know how to do that. I felt like people like her who are putting our Blackness at the forefront of her art would help the movement, but it seems like it is doing a lot of help, but it's also exposing some divisiveness within our community.
mm-hmm.
You
I
know?
I really do. It's like there's also a level in which like there are some Black people who really want they're just, well, they're centered in greed and like capitalism. So when they get that money, like we see performative people for money, like Candace Owens. Like, I'm not trying to go all political on
Oh
this.
my God.
If someone believes that this girl genuinely says all the things she says because it's seated in her heart and it's not based off of her bag, you're being naive. Like,
Facts.
sorry to say that. Like, a lot of times Black people will see, they will like assimilate to the point with money, and then they end up like crapping on all the other Black people who go through that or have a different experience than like them being like, oh, we made it. But there's also the level in which like Black wealth needs to be built. Like, we have to stop putting like wasting our time with like luxuries and all that other stuff and being like, what's worth? Like, how many properties are you owning? How are you turning things around to sell it? Do not let yourself be like held back by that, because wealth is unfortunately what helps fuel our capitalist society. So that's power. Like,
Man. Allie, everybody. Allie, you are incredible. You're like one of my favorite people to talk to.
thank
I
you.
love your perspective on life. Black woman, I love you. I respect you. Again, I hope you feel protected by me. You know how to reach me. You know how to call me out. So if I can do anything else to help the cause or better myself and educate myself, you let me know. I'm here.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate
Absolutely. All right, have a good one.
you too. Bye.
Incredible. All right, let's see who we got. Maya. It's my friend, yo. These are all my friends, but it's Maya. Hey!
Hi.
How was your vocal lesson?
It was beautiful.
Yeah?
I love her, so I got it together.
Yo, Maya is an incredible musician, artist. She is phenomenal. She's, you know, as far as music, I could talk to many people about music, but on the artist level, I feel like we get each other, and
Yeah.
I'm super appreciative of her.
Yeah.
So
Same.
I'm super happy to have you on here. One of the questions I wanted to ask you, I'm going to ask you like some music related stuff.
Okay.
The first thing I want to ask you about as a Black woman is your locks.
My locks. Okay.
Yeah, you have beautiful locks
Well,
on
thank you.
your head. Talk to me about locks, why you started it, what the journey is like, what it means to you.
Well, I started them January 1st, 2017. It was New Year's. Everybody was either at church or the club. And I really was going through a lot at that time. Like, I had just graduated. I was either going to cut all my hair off or do something. I just had to do something to start something. I wanted to start something and finish it. Like, you know, so I started it, twisted my hair up. I didn't like it. I was going to take it down like 2 or 3 days because my hair was long. It shrunk up so bad. Like, I was like, I can't go out the house like this.
You know,
like,
black hair.
Because I was, one of those girls that always did my hair, I wasn't used to that. But it's like a physical representation of growth. Because I know where I was in my life at that moment when I twisted it in the bathroom, and to see where I am now and look at my hair, it's just like okay, we're getting somewhere. All right. But people definitely started treating me a little bit different when I decided to lock my hair. It's like some people, like my daddy, he don't like it. Like,
really?
No, he wants my hair straight. He don't even like, afro. He's just a black man, But some people, they're just like, oh my God, you had the courage to do that, because
I remember one time my mother cut her hair.
Huh?
I remember one time my mother cut her hair. My father was like, well, why you do that?
Yeah, it's like, what you got going on? What you thinking about, So, but it just, even the type of people strangers that will walk up and want to start a conversation, it's different type of strangers that walk up. Different type of, just everything. It just changed it. It changed how I felt about myself because I detached myself from that vanity. Because after a while, after they got locked, it's like you stop thinking about your hair. I don't wake up in the morning like. Yeah,
that's a good point.
You know what I'm saying? It takes that thought away. So it took away how I saw myself. How I used to have felt like I had to be on 1,000 leaving the house. I don't, now I'm just comfortable, more so how I look and who I am. It doesn't bother me. It gave me more of a power.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I have a real strong attachment to him at this point.
Well, that's beautiful. They look great on you. They're kept well. It's amazing. Have you ever seen any kind of or felt any judgment because of your style or your look in the workplace? And honestly, even in like as an artist and as a musician and the industry maybe, do you feel any judgment because of your vibe and your style?
It just depends on where I'm at. When I first started my locks, I was a server, and I had to have it pulled back. It was either take it down or because they don't want you to look unkempt. And
wow,
it was different. But my job now, it doesn't matter. But if it was like more of a corporate place, I would have to keep it at least pulled back or tamed or anything, because with it being wild, people put that with you being a certain type of person, you being wild, or you being, I'm gonna rob them or something. They just, some people don't respect. Like I said, my daddy, he does not like them at all. He thinks it's like, why would you leave the house like that? But he feel like that with anybody that, but definitely. But some people, like I said, love it. Just the reaction I get. Some people, they think like, wow, you have so much strength to do that, you know, because I would never do that to my hair. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like it
Yeah.
on you, but you know what I'm saying? I get a lot
Man,
of
I
hair.
wish I could do that. I did everything I could.
You
Now I don't
can,
even have no
man.
more options.
You can. I seen a lace front today.
Get out of here.
They wouldn't even know, man.
You're crazy.
But yeah, it just depends. It definitely depends. I know a lot of people think it's nasty. They think it's unclean, you know. They think,
Really, I haven't seen those. Well, actually, no. Yes, I have. I've seen it from white people. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. They definitely think it's gross because, but that's a whole nother thing. But it just depends. I haven't gotten, if I wanted a job or anything, I haven't not gotten it because I had locks.
Yeah.
But it's because I have tried to tame it some kind of way. You know, I don't let it just be free how I would be at the house or something. So
Yeah.
it, you know, it has its ups and downs, but I don't think I'm gonna cut them anytime soon.
Yeah. I think that's a misconception that the other side has, that, you know, you can't treat it just like regular hair. Our hair textures are different. You know what I mean? We can do a lot with it. And I don't like the way they violate on y'all about hair in certain.
Yeah.
And so I was glad to see that law pass. I'm unclear on the details, but about discrimination and they nipped that, and I'm really appreciative of it.
Yeah, me too.
All right, so Maya, tell the people where you are from.
I am from Jackson, Tennessee. Right, probably about 45 minutes from Memphis. So we West Tennessee. No, I know, but it's okay.
So Jackson and Memphis has a pretty wide Black population.
Yes.
But Tennessee as a whole does not.
Yes.
You know. So now you live in the greater Nashville area, right?
Yeah.
What is that experience like with it not being as heavily Black populated? Tell us about your Tennessee experience.
Okay, so for me, the way I grew up, I didn't grow up around personally where I lived tons of Black people, but where I went to school, church, interacted with in West Tennessee, it's all the Black people. Yeah. So when I moved here, well, actually, first when I went to college, I went to Chattanooga. So that's East Tennessee.
That's right.
It was like, where we at, girl? Like, where, it was just a culture shock because we're all in West Tennessee. Middle Tennessee, just even how the Black people act is completely different than West Tennessee people. And I think it's just based off of the number of Black people that are around, me personally, like I said, it varies with me because I grew up around a lot of white people, so it didn't terribly shock me. But for some people that I know, they can't handle it. They have to go back home because it's more familiar. They're used to seeing familiar faces. Like, it's definitely different, and it's definitely a little bit more segregated, I feel like, there. I don't know, I could be wrong, but a little bit more.
So let me ask you this: in growing up, and they say hindsight is 20/20. Do you see things or think about things in your past, and then you run through it in your head, and you're like, they were being racist, they were being prejudiced in that moment? Mm-hmm. I was thinking about when I was growing up. Y'all know I'm from the Bronx, and in school, I was in probably like the 5th or 6th grade. And they served fried chicken for lunch, which was rare. This cat was like, "Yo, Dev, you got some barbecue sauce?" Mm-hmm. Now, as a kid, I'm just like, "Well, I don't even eat barbecue sauce like that. Why would I have barbecue sauce?" But he was being funny, you know what I'm saying? So, like, are there any experiences you think of that you can think of like that, and like what you would say to a child now in those scenarios? Or even just a younger version of yourself?
When I was in high school, I went to kind of like a preppy. It was it was the most private you can get with it being a public school. So it means it was very small. Our graduating class wasn't no more than 115, you know. So that means the whole school was probably 400, 500 people. But it was mainly white. It was maybe 75% white and 25%, you know, everybody else. So they would go around sometimes and do pranks. Like their senior pranks was always something racist, or they would put colored on some of the water fountains, you know, and you know,
Whoa.
they just laugh it off kind of more so. But now I'm like, why would we do that? Because we were just so used to being around them, we didn't take them seriously, you know. But thinking about it now, it's just like we really put up with more stuff than we should have, just because we just weren't, especially then, we weren't being taught to even be mad, you know.
True.
I feel like just now we're just now getting taught to be aware about so much stuff that's going on that we did not even know about then.
Yeah.
So
Man,
they were bad.
It scares me thinking of bringing a child into the world. I think about my cousins who are having kids, you know, my nieces and nephews, and you know, school kids are really mean, and you can't shield kids from everything, but you know, you want to protect them the best you can, and you want to equip them the best you can. So I feel like it's hard to kind of find that balance between what to share, what to expose them to, and what to keep them. But in your case, I know that you work with older people, which comes to mind because my great grandmother used to say, once a lady, twice a baby, meaning like when you're older, you're a baby again. Do you feel like, well, the older people you work with, do they have like slick mouths? Do they say things that...
They're ridiculous, and they're special needs, so there's no filter.
Really?
Yeah, so it's just like whatever comes to mind is what comes to mind. So I love it because I feel like it's so much truth. Like they're like kids. It's like how they feel is what they're gonna say.
Have they ever said something that crossed the line, that was like racist or sexist to you?
Oh, of course. And they don't even see it as anything being wrong. Like I have one client, he's like maybe 75, maybe, and he sees me as someone who was in his house when he was younger. And you know, he don't treat me bad, but that's how he sees me, because it's like we work there, and it's like he sees me as just a typical Black woman that helped raise him and cook and clean and all that.
Wow.
And sometimes I have to, you know, it's 2020, baby. I know, you know, I know we got issues going on, but remember, you know, but it's real bad, you know, it's really bad. He definitely, he's not mean. He's not mean, but it's like he sees himself as superior, even with me being in there taking care of him, you know.
Wow.
He's used to it. This is, you know, I can tell that he was raised like that.
Isn't it?
And that's why a few of them like that.
Really?
And that's just because a lot of them weren't in any type of home. They were just at their own houses with their own families until somebody died off and they had to go somewhere. So it's like they have learned practices, you know, that's just how anybody would be.
Yeah.
And different.
Wow. That's a crazy experience. And I must say, you must have a lot of patience. And I know a lot of prayer goes into it.
You gotta have patience to even grow these dreads. So yeah, I gotta yeah, buddy.
Maya, everybody. Maya, you're phenomenal. You're one of my favorite people. But aside from all that, you are a Black woman, just like my mother, just like my sister, just like anybody else I would encounter. And I want you to feel protected and respected by us Black men. And I hope you feel that way.
Yeah, buddy.
I got you, fam.
All right.
All right, we'll talk soon.
All righty.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, let's see. There's one person in particular I wanted to talk to today, but she's not here. Hey, yo, Rosalind, you wanna you feel like talking today? I hope so. I know you be having your own lives, but I want you on mine. Mm, 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 mm. Whoa, whoa.
Hey,
Favorite.
what's up?
What's up, woman?
Thank
Yo, you looking good, skin clear?
you. I had to throw my hat on because I just got through working out and I didn't want y'all to see my.
Oh, word?
Yeah.
How was it?
It was good. It was good. Much needed, definitely.
Yo, you look like really in shape. You're slim, all
Woo.
kind of stuff.
Thank you.
I mean, even if you weren't slim, you still look great. But you are somebody who studies and actively practices holistic eating and healthy eating.
Yes.
Tell us what that experience has been like for you, why you started, and how you got to where you are now.
Well, actually this month, July, I'll be celebrating 10 years as plant-based, no dairy, no flesh, none of that.
Wow.
So it'll be 10 years this month. I think in like next week.
I've known you over 10 years. That's crazy.
Yes, that's crazy that we've known each other that long. Like that's
wow.
Yeah. So I started. So when I was 12, I was diagnosed with lupus, and I had a lot of health issues throughout like my teenage and early adult years, and I just went through a whole lot with my physical body, my mental self, and the doctors were basically experimenting on me, and I got tired of it. So once I got to MT where we met, I started just learning more about nutrition, which is my degree, and how food affects our bodies, and was doing other research outside of school too. And that's pretty much how I got to this point to where I am into holistic health and medicine and just preventive health measurements. Because a lot of people, especially in our community, suffer from preventative health issues like diabetes, like high blood pressure, hypertension, stuff like that. And it's all based off of how we eat. And, you know, that's something that I'm very passionate about, is helping our community to combat a lot of those illnesses by just making small changes. Like I tell people all the time, I know everybody's not going to be vegan like me. I know everybody's not just going to up and stop eating meat, but there are healthier options than what we are given on a regular basis. So
true.
But yeah.
It's just like making those small changes and incorporating it into our lifestyle.
Yes, absolutely.
So give us one of your tricks. Give us one thing that we can substitute that's in most people's regular diet that we could probably change today.
The biggest thing, honestly, especially for women, dairy. Dairy is very, 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 very toxic, especially for women in childbearing ages. It affects our reproductive organs. It affects our skin. It affects, you know, so many different parts of our bodies. And and it's just bad because of the hormones that they put in it. And then too, you know, I tell this joke all the time. I'm like, we're not baby cows. Like that's what the milk is for.
That's what milk is for, right?
Yeah, that's what milk is for. It's for the reproduction and the growth of a small cow. So, you know, switching from dairy to plant-based dairy like coconut milk, almond milk, hemp milk, different things like that will definitely help to improve your health over time, and it also helps with like weight loss. It helps with skincare. Many people, especially women, suffer with cardiovascular issues, and it'll help with that as well. So that small change alone will make a big difference in health.
Do you feel, let me ask you this, do you feel like in our Black communities, do you feel like we intention, like that there's an intention behind grocery stores in more Black populated areas are not as populated with the healthy options? There are not a whole bunch of Whole Foods in like the hood and all that other kind of stuff. Do you think that that's like intentional in this country?
Absolutely. They know that if we don't have access to it, we aren't going to really go out of the way to find it. healthier options rather. So yes, it's definitely intentional that when you go to majority Black neighborhoods, you find corner stores that sell excessive amounts of alcohol, prepackaged foods. You go to Black neighborhoods, they don't have grocery stores. And if they do have grocery stores, the options are terrible for the most part. Also, when you go to Black neighborhoods, they have more fast food restaurants. And they make it cheaper, they make it more accessible, and they make it easy for them to have access to. So yeah, it's definitely because they know if your diet isn't in the right, if you aren't eating right, if your diet isn't good, they know that it affects not only your physical health, but your mental health as well. So, you know, that's why so many children in Black neighborhoods or minority neighborhoods suffer from learning disorders, ADHD, autism, stuff like that. So it's definitely planned out well, actually, very well.
Wow, that's crazy. You know, I want to tie this back to protecting our Black women and that dynamic between our Black women and Black men. A lot of men in relationships, of course, I can't say all, I can't speak for everybody. I can barely speak for myself with this, but a lot of Black men expect for their girl, fiance, wife, or whatever to cook and all that kind of stuff. Do you feel like Black men are not taking enough initiative when it comes to like cooking and providing meals and all that kind of stuff when it comes to relationships? Do you think we still have that gender role of women in the kitchen mindset? Like, do you think that that's still around and that we could do better at fighting against that?
Yes, it's definitely a thing that still is going on, that sadly a lot of people feel like gender roles are the norm, or they feel like that's the way that life is supposed to be, when in reality now, honestly, nobody really has time to do all of that. Like, even me being single, like, I barely have time to take care of myself. Like, even though I cook and, you know, I meal prep and I do all this other stuff, but with work, school, running a business, all that, like that takes up a lot of time. And then still trying to like work out, still trying to, you know, get enough sleep, you know, still, you know, meditating, reading my Bible or whatever I need to do, you know, that takes a lot of time. So a lot of people do still have that mindset that women are only good for, you know, cooking, cleaning, and making babies, unfortunately. But women are now like, they're career women, like they're going for multiple degrees, you know, they have multiple businesses. Women have like, you know, so much going on that is not even the same as what our grandparents and, you know, their parents were doing. You know, many of them, they didn't finish elementary school. So of course, you know, they had time to raise children. They had time to cook and keep the house clean and all that stuff. So, and they had to depend on a man. Like, even though I hate the term independent woman because it makes us sound toxic, but I mean, a lot of us are really getting stuff on our own. Like, we don't necessarily need anybody to do anything for us, but, you know, we desire it. We still want that, but we don't want anyone to keep us locked in a bubble of what they think we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, we talked about Beyoncé a couple times tonight, and I remember she came out with that song, and she was like, you know, don't think I'm just his little wife. And, and it's crazy that somebody at her stature would feel the need to have to say something like that, you know, after all of her accomplishments, that, hey, yes, I've gotten married, yes, I've had kids, but I'm not just a wife. I can still have my own full life and be a career woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, it's that's how things are now. Like, we aren't just sitting around waiting to be married. We aren't just sitting around waiting to say that, you know, we're starting a family or whatever. Like, many of us are out here, like even me, like I'm pursuing another master's and a PhD next year. So it's like, Yeah.
My.
And it gets tricky when you meet people because, you know, when you start talking about all that stuff, they're like, oh wow, you don't have time for nothing. And I'm like, well, you know, I can make time. It's just I need to see effort from the other side before I can say I'm gonna give me to you or give you my time, because with the little bit of time I do have, like I gotta find a way to make it work. So yeah, like many women still want it. We still desire that love and that compassion and that unity with a man, but it's like we're not gonna settle. We're not gonna do that. So yeah.
Not gonna do that.
No, we're not gonna do that. Not at all.
Oh man, well that's incredible, Roz. Thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thanks, Faith. I'm so glad you got me on. So, I'm always down to talk. So.
Well, I want to say thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for being your complete, beautiful, Black self. You are a phenomenal woman. You are respected, and I hope you feel protected as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Peace.
Bye. All right, you guys. I got done 8 minutes early, so that's great. I'm going to upload this to the page, but you guys, thank you so much for joining in and talking to me. I'm just trying to educate myself and hopefully help somebody else along the way, and also provide a safe space for the Black women in my life to just talk and hear people who sound like them and share the same struggles. So peace and blessings. Love you all. Bye.